This is Montgomery Mosaic on 1450 WOL, WPRS, HD2, and worldwide on WOLDCnews.com. Montgomery Mosaic features topics of interest to Montgomery County residents, businesses, and visitors. Here now is your host, Deborah Milo.
Well, good morning, County friends, and welcome to the April edition of Montgomery Mosaic. I'm your host, Deborah Milo, and thank you for starting your day with us. It's a pleasure to be here with you. Well, it's the time of year where homeowners and business owners alike start thinking about updates, renovations, and other building improvements. You know, May is just around the corner, and it's also Building Safety Month. This year's theme is Building Codes Save Lives. And joining us to talk about Building Safety Month and the upcoming Design for Life Showcase is Gail Lucas, Permitting Services Manager with the Montgomery County Department of Permitting Services. Gail oversees the building construction intake process. Gail, thank you for coming on today's show. You must be really busy this time of year.
We are going into our busy season. Thank you so very much for having us here, and good morning to all of the listeners.
Nice. Well, before we get started, I'm sure our listeners would love to know a little bit about your role here in the county, and tell us a little bit about what you do at Permitting Services, because I think that most time the average folks like myself probably think permitting services, it's where I have to go get a permit to build a deck or, and I'm sure that's some of that. But I suspect that your job is probably a little more fascinating.
It's a little more fascinating. The Department of Permitting Services intakes, reviews, issues, permits, and licenses across a wide variety of license and permit types. We do everything from driveways to vendor licenses to issuing licenses to electricians in Montgomery County. So we're a very busy office, and we have a lot going on.
Well, it sounds like it. It really, really does. Now, tell me about how did you come to the county, and how did you get interested in this particular career of choice?
My career has been spent in customer service type jobs. I've worked for the D.C. court system in their mediation program. I have worked for the Better Business Bureau. I have worked in other regulatory agencies throughout my career. So this is just one more step along that path. I've been with the county for about 15 years. And it's a good job, and I enjoy permitting services.
I like how you said that. It's a good job.
It is.
And you're right. It is a good job. That's why we're here today.
Right.
So now let's begin with Building Safety Month. Tell us a little bit about the public awareness campaign, which helps the residents and business owners really understand what it takes to create safe and sustainable structures, and talk about why it's so important to the quality of life.
Well, Building Safety Month is celebrated each year to highlight the importance of building codes and the code officials who work with them, some of those forgotten heroes. It's a campaign to educate the public about how offices like Permitting Services protects the lives and properties of communities across the world. It is actually an international celebration.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Didn't know that.
The theme for this year's Building Safety Month is Building Codes Save Lives. And that's what building codes are. They are, in fact, safety codes. They help ensure that your remodeling project, your installation project, your new home is built to the current safety codes. This will save homeowners and businesses a lot of frustration and money in the future, and can save you from dangerous situations.
I was about to say that's probably a process that's so necessary because of the dangers involved.
One of the things that we tell folks, because they don't think necessarily that building codes are safety codes, but if you remember the big winds we had recently,
yes,
I know they were blowing my house around.
They were blowing mine around too.
One of the things in the code and one of the things that we enforce is wind bracing, making sure that your house will not end up in Oz, so you will be right where you want to be.
Yeah, I've never been to Oz and don't really make plans to go there anytime soon. Well, how is your department getting involved with the campaign?
Each year, DPS offers events and programs to educate the public about building safety. There will be a proclamation ceremony at the county council office on May 1st. And DPS will highlight each week one of the themes from this year's Building Safety Month. The first week is Partnering with Code Officials Saves Lives. We want to make sure that people use licensed contractors.
Yes.
And that your permits pass final inspection so that you have that stamp of approval that everything was built correctly. The second week is Advancing Resilient Communities Through Science and Technology. DPS encourages the use of green technology. That's a big move these days.
Yes.
To build green.
It's all about this, the carbon footprint type of thing.
Absolutely. So things like geothermal wells, and our e-services program, which allows you to apply for permits and have permits issued electronically.
Oh, and now is this a new feature?
It's not a brand new feature. It's relatively new in that we've been offering this for a limited number of permits for probably the past 4 years, but we're adding more and more permit types every year. It is our goal that every permit or license that DPS issues ultimately be electronic. You can do it online, don't have to come into our office, so that you don't have to produce all of those paper plans or get in that car and use that gas to come to our office.
Well, that's something I wasn't aware of. That's very good. So now, tell me what residents need to know about building codes in Montgomery County. Just kind of briefly go over some of the highlights of what residents need to know.
Residents need to know that building codes are really there for their protection. They're not there to limit what you do or to restrict. Maybe that's a better way to put it. What you do with your home or what you do with your property. But they're there for your protection and for your safety, and not just your safety, but the safety of your community, your neighbors, for the larger Montgomery County neighborhood. So we want to make sure that folks equate building codes with safety codes.
Hello again, listeners, and thank you for tuning in to Montgomery Mosaic on Talk Radio 1450 WOL. I'm your host, Deborah Milo, and today I have the pleasure of talking to Gail Lucas, Permitting Services Manager with the Department of Permitting Services. And we're talking about Building Safety Month. But before we get back to our conversation, I want to let you know about another upcoming event, and that's the 4th Annual Montgomery County Green Fest, hosted by the Montgomery County Department of Environmental Protection. Now, every action that we take to protect our environment, regardless of how big or small, can really help our world become a greener and cleaner place. You can make plans to attend the Green Fest on Saturday, May the 5th, from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Jessup Blair Local Park in Silver Spring. Now, Green Fest is a free, fun-filled festival that combines entertainment, exhibitors, workshops, and more for a fun day for the whole family. Now, to get more information about Green Fest or all of the Earth Month activities, please visit www.montgomerycountymd.gov/DEP. Let me repeat that. www.montgomerycountymd.gov/DEP, and plan to get out to Greenfest on Saturday, May 5th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Jessup Blair Local Park in Silver Spring. And now let's get back to more great conversation with Gail Lucas here on 1450 WOL. I wanted to kind of touch back or circle back, Gail, about green construction. Can you kind of go a little bit more deeper into what green construction really means?
Green construction means using construction materials wisely and sparingly. It means to construct your property, your home, your business in such a way that it limits the use of natural resources. It may mean using things like geothermal wells that I talked about earlier.
I really want you to talk about that because when you said that, it went right over my head. Let's put a comma there. What is a geothermal well?
A geothermal well is digging into the ground and using groundwater or natural wells, or even creating a well that provides heat and energy to your building, rather than putting in a generator or rather than putting in a number of furnaces and boilers. It's using what nature provides to provide some heat and to provide a lot of energy. We also like to see green roofs, where the roof of your building is energy efficient. It may mean that you have gardens there, you've planted some kind of green planting on top that is producing oxygen, that is helping the building conserve energy. It's using energy efficient glass. It's using energy efficient construction materials. It's also recycling those materials. We have a lot of demolition and rebuild in Montgomery County.
Yes, we do.
So we have folks that are taking buildings down. We want some of those construction materials to be reused. Rather than producing brand new ones, let's recycle and reuse what we're taking down.
I am, as I'm sure a lot of people are, big on DIY projects, mostly very small projects. But one of the things that I've noticed a lot lately, and I'm sure you're very familiar with this trend, is the reclaimed wood to install new flooring, to install new walls. I mean, we see a lot of that. Is that also part of the green process?
Absolutely. It's part of recycling what comes out of a demolished barn or comes out of a house, an old housing development that may be demolished to make way for a new housing development. It also can look really good.
It really
and really
does.
Interesting.
It does look good.
In your home.
It really does look good. I recently visited someone's home, as a matter of fact, and she had reclaimed wooden floors that she got from an old barn somewhere in the country, and it was absolutely beautiful. So that's definitely a great way to go. It's a great option. Now, you were continuing to talk about some of the other things about building codes that our residents should take into consideration, and they are for protection.
Well, I'm going to circle back a little bit to Building Safety Month and some of the other themes in the third and fourth week. Some of the themes speak to what we're talking about: protecting communities from disaster, for instance, and disaster recovery, building resilient communities that can take the windstorms like we've had, or can take hurricanes that we've had a number of in recent years. That one is the third week of May. Safeguarding our water. Construction is, if it is not monitored, can send dirty runoff into our streams that can go into the bay that affects those crabs we love all summer long.
Now, see, that's something that the average homeowner, like myself, may not think about. You know, the water runoff and all of those types of things.
Well, DPS helps keep water safe from construction runoff, and our new green codes will help reduce the carbon footprint by encouraging, as I said, construction materials to be recycled. You see those when you go to construction sites, the silk fences is what they're called. You may see signs at construction sites where trucks have to rinse off their wheels.
I have seen
so
that.
They are not bringing mud onto the street that may go into the stream or go into our sewer systems and pipes.
Now, I understand that there's also going to be free deck inspections throughout the month of May. So how can residents take advantage of this service, and why is it so important?
Decks are significant structures attached to your house.
Yes, they are.
And should be regularly maintained just like the other parts of your home. You wouldn't let mold build up on your kitchen floor.
Definitely not.
You don't want mold to build up on your deck, which can shorten the life of your deck, which can make it unpleasant to use or even hazardous to use.
And I've seen that many times. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to take a quick station break, Gail, and we're going to come back and talk about that, because that is interesting. How is it that mold is fascinating? This is Montgomery Mosaic on Talk Radio 1450 WOL with your host, Deborah Milo, and we're going to take a quick break. But when we come back, we're going to talk more with Gail Lucas about free deck inspections. So, folks, don't go away.
Washington, D.C.'s.
So, folks, don't go away.
Washington, D.C.'s News Talk, 1450 AM WOL and 95.9 FM.
Good morning. This WOL traffic and weather update brought to you by Compassion International. On 14th Street northbound before Main Avenue, broken down bus, 2 left lanes are closed. It's slowing you up from the 14th Street bridge to head onto 14th Street, heading into the downtown area. Outbound New York Avenue at New Jersey Avenue Northwest, it's a road work in the right lane and delays up from the 3rd Street tunnel. And then you're still slow as you head toward a work zone right near the District Maryland line, outbound New York Avenue near South Dakota Avenue. Every child is full of potential, but poverty will steal that potential from a child. Go to compassion.com/radio to sponsor a child now. Now your WOL weather forecast. For today, mostly cloudy, highs in the upper 50s, clear to partly cloudy overnight down to 45. Tomorrow, cloudy early, then partly cloudy and windy, warmer later in the day, high near 74. Steve Hirschhorn for 1450 AM and 95.9 FM WOL, where information is power.
And welcome back to Montgomery Mosaic on Talk Radio 1450 WOL. I'm Deborah Milo, your host, and we're here with Gail Lucas with the county's Department of Permitting Services. And she's sharing some important information about free deck inspections. But before we go back to that, Gail, you were mentioning something during the break about gardens?
Rain gardens.
Rain garden.
When we're talking about building green and conserving energy, rain gardens are a great way to conserve water, to trap runoff from your property that may go into your neighbor's basement. They're a great way for you to beautify your home even. Okay. So there are a number of different ways for you to deal with runoff on your property, and that's one of the big questions we get often this time of year when it's rainy and folks have water going into their basement.
Right.
And there's new construction. The home next door went from 1,000 square feet to 5,000 square feet.
Right.
Where's all that water going to go? So rain gardens are a wonderful way to trap water on your property, to keep the runoff from going again into the streams and going into your neighbor's basement.
And so that's called a rain garden?
It's called a rain garden. It's really just a way for plantings, live plantings, to catch the water. You may direct your downspout to it. You may have actually a reservoir that collects water, that funnels it to the garden, that limits your need to turn those sprinklers on. It may limit your need to get out there on a Saturday morning, if you're like me, and water those sad little plants that haven't seen water in a while.
Right.
So it can help, again, with beautifying your home because, those plants are self-supporting then.
Right. That's interesting. I would never have thought about that concept. And, again, that's part of greening. No pun intended. No pun intended.
Or yellowing and bluing.
Or however other colorful metaphors that you'd like to use. I'd like to talk a little bit about the Design for Life showcase coming up, I think, on May 5th. And now this is for homeowners building new homes or renovating their current homes. Is that right?
That's correct. But before we come off of that, let's go back to decks. We were talking about decks.
Right. Yes.
And how folks can get free deck inspections throughout the month of May.
Yes.
Homeowners and homeowner associations may request free deck inspections.
Okay.
Our inspectors will come out and assess your deck in a number of areas. The structural integrity, making sure that it is well supported by your home, that the bolts and the posts that are holding it are well supported and well grounded. They'll come out and look at that mold and that mildew on that deck. General maintenance. Are there nails popping through? Are there warped boards? Does the deck hold up? And give you some information and some tips on what you can do to extend the life of your deck. We've all seen those pictures, and we've seen news stories of deck collapses.
Oh, yes.
And we know about some of the injuries that can result from that. But we want to make sure that folks can enjoy their deck all summer long. And if you're like me, you're often barefoot on that deck.
I think most of us are.
So we want to make sure that it's clean and it's good to use all season long.
I'm glad that you circled back to that, because I did want to ask, are the inspections available to all Montgomery County residents? And is May the only month that this takes place?
The free deck inspections are only available during May,
okay.
But folks can call in during the month of May and request them. Now, we've had some years where we've gotten so many that the inspections go until the month of June, and that's perfectly fine. We will honor all requests for deck inspections.
Okay.
We also suggest that if you're in a neighborhood or a homeowners association where most of the homes or a number of the homes have decks, that you call as a group, and the inspector can come out and look at several of them at the same time and talk generally to the neighborhood, to the neighbors about what they can do to improve the life of their deck or to extend the life of their decks.
That's an excellent opportunity for homeowners, so that if you do have a community that is working together like that, you can get it all done in one time.
Exactly.
I think that's a great time saver, as well as just economically smart as well.
So all residents need to do is to call MC 311 and request a free deck inspection. And again, if you call during the month of May, even if we have such a number that we have to go out of the month of May to do the inspections, all requests will be honored.
Good to know. So now, talk a little bit about the Design for Life Showcase. I'm interested to understand what residents can experience at the showcase.
The Design for Life program, let's talk about that very briefly, is intended to help increase the stock of existing and new homes in Montgomery County that can be used by people with differing abilities at all life stages. The program encourages builders, developers, and consumers to construct and renovate homes with accessibility and design features like no-step entrances, wider doorways that let people at all life stages live in the home that they love for as long as they want to. So we are having on May 5th a Design for Life showcase that brings developers, designers, renovators, and the public together to look at what's possible.
Okay.
If you're thinking about renovating your home, if you're thinking about building new, you're going to see design ideas about how to make that house livable, how to make it accessible, and not just for persons with disabilities, but for those of us who are getting up there and want a little more help. It's called
aging gracefully.
Is it graceful?
Yeah.
Want a little more help in their home.
Yes. Listeners, you've tuned in to Montgomery Mosaic on Talk Radio 1450 WOL. I'm your host, Deborah Milo, and today we're talking about the Design for Life showcase that takes place on May 5th, and my guest today is Gail Lucas from the Montgomery County Department of Permitting Services, where Gail oversees the building construction intake. So, Gail, I like how you had that segue there, how at a certain stage in life, aging gracefully, if you will.
Right.
What are some of the benefits of the program, such as can residents qualify for property tax credits, etc.?
Absolutely. I think that's the biggest benefit of the program.
Sure.
In addition to a home that you can live in forever, there are property tax credits that are available to homeowners depending on how much they renovate their home or how many accessibility features they may include in their homes. There are also impact tax credits that are available to developers and to builders and to homeowners. If they put in these accessibility features or if they build their home to Design for Life standards.
Okay.
So, and it can be significant. It's up to $10,000.
That is pretty
on
significant.
Your property tax that you can get credited if you are building your home, again, meeting these accessibility and Design for Life standards.
So this literally is something for all ages and all stages.
It absolutely is. I have a friend who lives in Montgomery County, and she's in a home that she's been in for the longest kind of time, and she and her husband loved this home. And she's perfectly able-bodied, but just like the rest of us, Just like
As
the
she
rest
nudges
of us.
me.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But she's made a very concerted effort to put in those features that allows her to stay in her house. And she's put in she's widened doorways, she's put in grab bars, and raised her toilet seat levels.
Mm-hmm.
She's done that kind of work now. And it's benefited her because recently she broke her ankle.
Oh, no.
And it was very helpful to be able to maneuver crutches or maneuver the little wheelchair thing she had
I'm sure.
through doorways. So these are features that you're going to want, again, at every life stage.
I want them now, okay? Because it makes perfect sense. And your friend was very wise in her planning. That sounds like good strategic planning.
And it was.
I think that's excellent. So how can folks find out more about the event and the Design for Life program?
They can visit our website, and we have a website dedicated to the Design for Life program that will give them all kinds of detailed information on how to access these credits. We showcase builders that may be using these kinds of construction techniques or kind of design techniques on our website, and folks can look at that. And of course, they can come to the Design for Life showcase on May 5th, where we will have folks there featuring their designs or featuring their construction techniques. And folks can get business cards. They can actually make appointments with builders or developers or designers right at that showcase.
Well, that's an excellent. I can't wait to go, because that's something that you'll be able to learn so much more about what you can do to create those improvements and those enhancements for your home. And like you said, for those of us who are at that aging gracefully stage in our lives, want to just ask you one more thing. Is there anything else that you want to add about the event, the upcoming events, or anything else?
Well, I want to give you the website for the Design for Life showcase to register to attend or to find out how to be an exhibitor.
Okay.
It's montgomerycountymd.gov or designforlifemc, all one word, .org.
Okay, could you repeat that also, please?
montgomerycountymd, all one word, .gov or designforlifemc.org. You can also call 311 for more information. The showcase will be again May 5th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Fantastic.
At the Silver Spring Civic Building.
Okay. Gail, thank you so much for spending some of your time to talk to us about Building Safety Month.
Oh, thank you for having us about this important topic.
And county friends, that's all we have time for today. I'd like to thank my guest, Gail Lucas with the Montgomery County Department of Permitting Services. Now remember to call 311 to get your free deck inspection beginning May 1st, and we hope to see you at the Design for Life Showcase on Saturday, May the 5th from 9 a.m. to 2 at the Silver Spring Civic Building. Thanks again for tuning in, and don't forget to tune in again next month for the May edition of Montgomery Mosaic on Talk Radio 1450 WOL, WPRS HD2, and worldwide on WOLDCnews.com. Till next time, make it a great day.
You've been listening to Montgomery Mosaic, featuring topics of interest to Montgomery County residents, businesses, and visitors. For more information or a copy of the show, email public information at montgomerymd.gov or call 240-777-6507. Be sure to tune in at this time on the second Wednesday every month for Montgomery Mosaic on 1450 WOL, WPRS, HD2, and worldwide on WOLDCnews.com.